Early Friday morning, Metro Police arrested Pawn Stars star Corey Harrison on suspicion of driving while drunk. A police report obtained by 8 News Now says Harrison was swerving while driving a truck near Maine in Charleston. Corey Harrison's journey on Pawn Stars is marked by both triumph and heartache. Beyond fame, he faced a near-fatal motorcycle accident, personal losses, and 2 divorces. Despite these problems, he stayed dedicated to the family business and his role on the show. His life off-screen showed the pain that was hiding. Listen in as the shadows of his past hint at more untold stories of triumphs, tragedies, and a pawn shop dynasty. Corey was born in Las Vegas in April 1983, into a family that was already involved in the pawn game. His grandparents, Richard Benjamin Harrison and Rick Harrison, opened the gold and silver pawn shop in the early 1980s, and he and his 5 siblings grew up around the shop, learning the trade from a young age. By the time he was 9 years old, he was already helping out at the store. Corey was learning as much as he could about the business, but he had no idea that fate would change his life forever. The shop wasn't always a famous landmark. It started out as a small used store that sold coins and jewelry. As Las Vegas grew, so did their business. There are good and bad things about it. For example, I have young children, and it's hard to go to dinner somewhere without people walking up and asking to take pictures all the time. In 2009, the History Channel took a chance on a show about a family-run pawn shop. That's when Pawn Stars was born, and the Harrison family became famous on TV. The TV star's laid-back personality made him seem easygoing, but there were tensions building beneath the surface as the show became more popular. By season 6, he wanted more control over the business, and threatened to take 10% of the shop's profits if it wasn't given to him. Walk away in the end, getting 5% with the promise of more in the future. This showed that the reality star wasn't just another face on TV, he meant business. Despite the family fights, the businessman was a big part of the shop's success. He even hired his childhood friend Chumlee when Chumlee was in his early 20s, and over time, Chumlee became one of the most entertaining and loved characters on the show. He and Rick made appearances on other shows as well, including an episode of iCarly in 2014. They started a game show called Pornography, which was another feather in their cap. But things weren't always easy for the TV star known for his big frame. Big Host weighed 400 pounds at his heaviest in 2010, and the weight started to hurt his health. Doctors warned him about the risk of diabetes, which sparked him to take drastic action. He had an accident on April 26th of this year, and broke his hand and tore a bunch of ligaments in his shoulder. He's still recovering from that. During his weight loss journey, he had gastric band surgery, which helped him lose almost 200 pounds. The shop owner didn't stop there. He also changed his whole lifestyle, eating healthier and working out regularly. Boxing became his favorite workout, and he even got back into snowboarding, which he hadn't been able to do for years because of his size. While he was working on his health, he had another scary incident while riding his motorcycle at 40 mph. Luckily, he survived the accident, but he had to have surgery on his hand that included 8 screws and 2 plates. Even though the accident was very bad, he thought he was lucky to be alive. In 2018, his grandfather Richard Benjamin Harrison died at the age of 77 from Parkinson's disease. This was a terrible loss for the whole family, especially the 3rd-generation pawnbroker, who had grown up working with his grandfather in the pawn shop. The old man's death marked the end of an era for the Harrison family and the show. As if losing his grandfather wasn't hard enough, the TV star's personal life took another hit when he and his second wife Karina Kiki Harrison got divorced in September of the same year. They said it was because of their busy work schedules, but they ended their marriage on good terms. Just a month after the divorce, they had a son named Richard Benjamin Harrison, who was named after the late family patriarch. And the reality star's first marriage had he married his high school sweetheart Charlene in 2009, but by 2015 they were no longer together. Charlene worked at the pawn shop while they were married, but after they broke up, she stopped being seen in public. In 2023, the shop owner got into trouble with the law again when a police officer in Las Vegas saw his truck swerving on the road and thought he might be drunk. The officer pulled him over and gave him a field sobriety test, which he failed. He was taken to jail even though he said he had only 1 drink hours before being pulled over. The results showed otherwise, and he was charged with driving under the influence, which added another mark to his record. As if that wasn't bad enough, the family suffered yet another devastating blow in early 2002. Do you remember when the old man thought we sold his Imperial? I asked. Yes, I do. I remember him freaking out and being alarmingly upset about it. Brother Adam Harrison died at the age of 39 from an overdose of fentanyl and methamphetamine. Adam's death was a harsh reminder of the opioid crisis sweeping the country, The Harrison family mourned in private, but the reality star shared a touching post on social media about his grief and love for his brother. Through all of these ups and downs, the TV personality has remained a central figure on Pawn Stars, despite rumors about health scares and personal problems. He still shows up to run the shop and keep the family. He still runs the family business with his father Rick and longtime friend Chumley. He is a well-known face on TV, and fans can't wait to see what comes next for the Harrison family and their famous pawn shop. During his career, the experienced businessman has built a reputation for being a smart negotiator. He learned early on how to spot valuable items and avoid getting scammed. When he was 19, he thought he knew everything and bought 5 fake Rolex watches, which cost him a lot of money. However, it taught him a valuable lesson about being careful in the pawn business. Over the years, he has seen some truly amazing things come through the doors of the gold and silver pawn shop, from rare sports memorabilia to expensive jewelry and even historical artifacts. The shop has had its fair share of unique finds. One man who drove up in a luxury car with a trunk full of silver worth millions of dollars was one of the most memorable. Another time, a gambler pawned his Ferrari early in the morning after a night of heavy drinking. The expert pawnbroker and his team have had to turn down some strange items over the years, including live animals, human skulls from a dental school, and questionable antiques that could get them in trouble with the law. His years of experience in the business have made him very good at quickly deciding whether an item is worth taking or not. Outside of the pawn shop, the reality star has been involved in many other projects and has become a well-known public figure, appearing at many people have been inspired by his weight loss journey and personal transformation, and he has often talked about how important it is to be healthy and fit. Despite the fame and wealth that Pawn Stars has brought him, he has always been grounded. He credits his family, especially his father and grandfather, for teaching him a strong work ethic and a sense of responsibility. He has often said that the shop's success is the result of years of hard work and dedication from many generations of the Harrison family. Family Corey's story was just the beginning. What happened inside the shop caused even more problems. On-screen bond, off-screen distance. The hit show has been entertaining viewers for over a decade, with Rick Harrison and Austin Chumley Russell at its center. While the two seem to make a great bond on screen, things are different off-camera. Despite working together for a long time, the shop's founder keeps his distance from his longtime co-worker when the cameras are off. After finishing season 21 in June 2023, they started a spin-off called Pawn Stars Do America, in which the owner, his son, and their comedic relief went on the road to find unique antiques. The second season of the spin-off started early the next year, and by April they were already filming season 22 of the original show. From the beginning, Pawn Stars has been about figuring out how much cool, quirky items are worth and how they fit into history. It's a simple formula that works really well thanks to the lively cast. Shop heir and his childhood friend have been friends since grade school. Their friendship got off to a rough start with a fight over a misunderstanding involving the heir's sister, but they made up and are now inseparable. The shop's goofball got his first job at the gold and silver pawn shop when he was 21. He started as an intern and then became a pawnbroker. He bought 3,372 odd of silver at the bottom of the market in the late 1990s, when silver was worth $3 an ounce. Silver is the best conductor of electricity there is. He worked there for 5 years before the show took off, doing things like managing a Quiznos and helping out at McDonald's. When the show started in 2009, it quickly became popular, with a mix of interesting artifacts, expert appraisals, and funny interactions. The comic relief, with his goofy charm and knowledge of pop culture, stood out at first as a background character, but his personality soon earned him a bigger role. Fans loved his laid-back attitude, and it wasn't long before he became one of the main characters. One of the most well-known characters on the show. His playful jabs at the owner kept things lighthearted. But he wasn't just funny. He also had a knack for spotting valuable pop culture items, showing that he knew what he was talking about even when the boss didn't believe him. Despite the comedy on screen, the real relationship between the shop's founder and his assistant has often raised eyebrows. One memorable moment was when the assistant tried to handle a deal involving a rare coin, even though he called in an expert and seemed to be. The assistant was clearly angry when the boss stepped in and took over. He later called the boss a tightwad, but the boss didn't believe in him and said he wasn't ready to run the business. This kind of tension isn't the only argument or disagreement that has happened on the show. The owner, his son who provided comic relief, and the late old man often argued about how things should be done behind the scenes. The shop's founder and his right-hand man have been busy with their own businesses. The assistant opened his own candy shop in 2017 and cleverly named it Chumley's Candy on the Boulevard. The store sells nostalgic sweets, jerky, and even toothpicks, and customers like them. The boss has been growing the pawn shop business, and even opened a restaurant called Rick's Rollin' Smoke Barbecue. Both of them have also been active on Cameo, making personalized videos for fans. The assistant's life outside of work has been anything but dull. In 2016, he got in trouble with the law for police searched him and found drugs and unregistered guns. He avoided serious consequences by following the court's rules until 2019. But the incident probably strained his relationship with his boss. Even though the boss isn't perfect, this episode didn't help the assistant's reputation. Fans have thought that part of the boss's coldness toward his longtime colleague could be jealousy of how relatable the assistant's everyman persona has made him. The shop's head is seen as the serious, responsible one, while the assistant is seen as the lovable goofball, who naturally gets more attention. Add to that the assistant's flashy lifestyle. He's known for his collection of expensive shoes and cars, including an Era and a classic Impala, and it's easy to see how their different personalities could cause problems. The boss, who's all about keeping the business going, probably doesn't like his coworkers' impulsive spending. The assistant has made decisions that have cost the shop a lot of money. The heir once said that an assistant's choice cost them over $200,000. This could be why the boss doesn't fully trust him with important deals. As the shop's reputation grew, things didn't go as planned, and tensions rose. There were also scandals and other problems between them. Another reason they may not get along is that they're both busy. The shop's head has a lot on his plate. His right-hand man has been running his candy store and going through a personal transformation. In the past few years, he had surgery to lose over 160 pounds, which made his health and mobility much better. Despite these changes, the assistant has been keeping a low profile on social media. The candy store is still open, but its website hasn't been updated in a while, even though the boss has been getting his son ready to take over the shop. Longtime friend hasn't given up on his dream of becoming a manager. Fans of the 25-year-old hunk, CH Lapids, doubt this will happen anytime soon, but his ambition hasn't changed. In the meantime, the shop's head's work in politics and other ventures has kept him in the spotlight. In November 2023, the governor of Kentucky gave him the honorary title of Kentucky Colonel. Despite all of this, the relationship between the shop's boss and his assistant hasn't changed. To intrigue fans, they play their parts perfectly on screen, but their relationship seems more complicated off-screen. Whether it's because of personal differences, professional boundaries, or just busy schedules, the two are still an important part of what makes Pawn Stars so interesting. Their interactions may not always be friendly behind the scenes, but they know how to keep viewers entertained, and that's what matters. Pawn Stars' rise to fame wasn't just about the things that came through the door, it was also about the characters who made the show what it is. The boss, who is the brains behind the operation, has always been portrayed as the tough, knowledgeable guy who doesn't put up with nonsense from anyone. His father, who was called the Old Man, brought an old-school feel to the show with his straightforward attitude and years of experience. The heir is the younger generation trying to keep up with the family business. And finally, the assistant brings the humor and makes the characters more relatable. The assistant's role in the show changed over time. He started out as the funny guy in the background, but as people started to notice him, he became more noticeable. His knowledge of pop culture items, from comic books to old video games, proved to be very useful. This made him relatable to a younger audience that might not have been interested in antiques otherwise. Over time, he became a central figure on the show, often taking part in big deals and appraisals. Despite his success on screen, his personal life has been a bit of a roller coaster. After opening his candy store, he seemed to be doing well, but his legal problems in 2016 put a damper on his career. The police search that found drugs and unregistered guns was a major scandal, and even though he didn't go to jail, it hurt his reputation and may have hurt his relationship with the shop's head. The boss, on the other hand, has always been seen as the more serious and responsible one. He spent his whole life working to make the pawn shop what it is today. His diner has been doing well, and he's also in the business of chile. Even though he has a lot going on, he is still the face of the pawn shop and helps with day-to-day tasks. One of the most interesting things about Pawn Stars is the relationship between the shop's head and his longtime co-worker. They may not always get along off-camera, but their on-screen chemistry is great. Watchers keep coming back for more, whether it's the helper making a joke or the boss rolling his eye. They're a big part of what makes the show fun to watch, whether it's the drama or the humor. Share your thoughts, like and comment, and subscribe to join the conversation and never miss more exciting material.